Hi, and welcome to Thursday with a Friend. My name is Lawrence, Larry, Punk, many other awful words people have probably called me over the years, or even called me to my face. Anyway, today we got a another special guest. This is a guy that I have only spoken to a couple times. I've actually seen him on Oz's Clubhouse more than anything, and I know he's been in the chat. And if you're new to new to this show, I like to talk to people that have helped support me, whether it be on Instagram, YouTube, Facebook, or just personally in my life that have helped me during this journey or supported me during this journey. So anyway, um, I guess my special guest, one half of the Collecting Brothers, John. How are you doing? And thank you for joining me.
Hey, doing good. Happy to be here.
It's great to have you. And I've said before, a lot of these that I do, it's easier to do with someone that I have hardly spoken to. And
Okay.
I find that, yeah, when you know someone really well, it's easy to talk to them. But
Yeah.
you also have to find a way to, when you ask them questions, first off, you already know the answer a lot of the times, but you want people to know. And you don't want to be like, hey, tell them about this. I know all about it. And then sometimes those people will be like, dude, you already know about this. And it's like, I know I do, but everyone else does.
Right. Yeah, I get that. Yeah.
So anyway, how's your week been going so far?
It's going good. I'm a school teacher, so we're on our last full week of school. We got Memorial Day, and then we got 3 days, and I'm off for the summer. So
Wow, that's rough. Hey, yeah, your last full week, then you get one day off, and then you're gonna have the summertime. I know. I don't want to insult teachers because they do things that I don't want to do, like teach my kids. They do
right.
things I can't do, like teach my kids, especially my daughter. Anyway, okay, so I always like to ask people about their name, and
Yeah.
so first off, where does the Collecting Brothers come from?
All right. Yeah, the Collecting Brothers, and to kind of explain my title there, the non-AI half of the Collecting Brothers. There's just kind of a rumor that Oz from Ostradamus Toys. He was just kind of saying, we always see John, but never Josh, even though there's John and Josh on the Collecting Brothers. And Oz just started saying that Josh was AI. So we kind of been running with it. I like the little inside baseball joke there. But that's where that comes from. Shout out to Oz. But yeah, the Collecting Brothers just came from me and my brother, being actual brothers, and we collect toys. We both have a passion for collecting action figures, specifically 1/12 figures. And that became the Collecting Brothers. We were originally called something else. Some of our screen names used to be like 99-1, but we changed it early on, and we stuck with the Collecting Brothers.
Okay, now I'm gonna ask a question that's been driving me absolutely nuts forever.
Yeah,
Know your name is Gene, right? So where the hell does John? Honestly, God, I'm like, because Oz kept going,
yeah.
that's John. I'm like,
But it's spelled Gene.
there's no there. I know that we absolutely obliterate the English language, and we don't announce letters or enunciate letters. And
Right. Yeah.
how the hell? Okay, we all know how John is spelled,
Right. It's right there.
John or Jon, but I've never spelled it. I've never seen it spelled Gene.
Yeah.
So where does this
Larry,
come from?
it's French.
Okay.
So it's like, Jean-Luc Picard or Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Okay.
So it's the French spelling, but I am not French. My parents, it gets good. My parents didn't want to. I was the first male born, and they're, like, I'm from Peru originally, so I'm from South America, Hispanic, and they didn't want to call. I was the first male born, and they didn't want to call me Juan, because like my name is actually Jan Marco, but they didn't want to call me Juan Marco because they felt like Juan was like overdone. So them being them changed it to Jean and pronounced it Jan instead of Jean, the French way, right? So I have a French spelling name. It's Hispanic, pronounced Jan, and then when I came to the States, we just went with John.
That is the most convoluted way I've ever heard to get to the name John. Just like, honest to God, like.
I agree with you.
Well, quickly, let's say hi to the chat. We got a bunch of people here. We got Beardy McBeardison who jumps in. We have GI Bro who are we looking to see again in at Joe Fest. We have one moderator, Matthew Matson. Turk Murphy's Toy Solution. We have Quip who dropped his May the Power of the Force video today. Go check it out. It was actually pretty funny. Don't go check it out right now. You can wait till this show is over. Real funny. And I thought the story about his mom is, I think we've all been there with a parent. We got Hosa. We have Sean Jones. Like he actually has an O in his name.
Yeah, that's true.
Machine Man. We got 3-star draw. And then we have Triple D's Dungeon that I already mentioned. I think I already mentioned Machine Man, but we'll mention again. So, all right. So you kind of let it all. You kind of let into it. So where were you born at, and what was your family life like?
Yeah, so I was born originally in Arequipa, Peru, which is like southern Peru.
Okay, wait, how do you say that?
Arequipa.
Arequipa?
Arequipa, yeah.
That's not that hard to say. I bet if I looked at it, you'd be like, "Who?"
Yeah, if you looked at it, I mean, phonetically you could sound it out, but there's a Q in there, so there's a Q, there's a P.
I started watching. I know the total. This is what you'll get from the show. Me, I've been watching this. I don't know this European guy, and he talks gangsters. Like history of gangsters. Well, he talks about the Purple Gang, which is from Detroit, in the during Prohibition and everything. But he gets a lot of words right, but some of like the cities, and I'm like, ooh, you murdered that.
Right, yeah.
And now I'm waiting for my moderator to jump in and be like, you have no room to talk. And you are absolutely correct. I don't. But it's I had to listen to one. I had to listen to him say Hamtramck a couple times because I'm like, you left out letters.
Right.
Like it's one thing when you, like you said, phonetically say it or read it, but interesting. Rogue, I really enjoy the work that he does. He doesn't do AI voiceover, which is awesome, right? But I'm just like, again, if it wasn't in Michigan, I wouldn't know. But I'm like, man, you murdered that.
Even like you go up to Washington, some of those old, northeastern Native American names, it's wild. But yeah, so came from there. My family moved here pretty early on. I was still a kid when I moved to the States, and I've lived in Utah for most of my life. That's why I probably don't have an accent.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm very, very English sounding because I grew up speaking it. So
no, I would have no idea.
But yeah, and so
no, seriously, like I don't.
Yeah. I mean, it's just when you get in here that early, that's what you hear. So I'm a teacher, so I like one of my favorite things to teach is English because of how complex and weird it is, and how much like the English language has stolen everything and like just smashed it into its own form. Love learning about that, and I love getting to teach it. So I always love getting into the minutia of phonetics and rule breakers, and it's fun stuff. But yeah, no, lived in Utah most of my life. And me and my brother, I have a brother from collecting brothers, but I have another brother and then 2 other sisters. I'm the second of 5 kids, and my dad, he was like a woodworker, and then he does like printing presses now, so like he makes like embossings and stuff like that. And my mom's a seamstress. We're really just regular people, nothing crazy, nothing fancy. And went to school and became a teacher.
So when did you move? So when did you come over to the U.S.?
I came over. I don't know the exact year, but I was like 3 or 4. I came in pretty young. I have an older sister who was probably 5 or 6 or 7. We were kids when we showed up, and and we came to Utah. So I haven't really been anywhere else. Like no East Coast stuff. I used to travel to California regularly every summer, but not much anymore. But yeah, pretty early on.
Why Utah? Any specific reason?
Yeah, my dad's faith was LDS Mormons, right? And so they came to Utah just because they already had some family. Like I think my aunt was already here. She later moved, but like it was just the easier way in, right? Someone here, they can get you set up, they can find housing,
Yeah.
jobs, and stuff like that. And so it was just kind of that stepping stone. And then once you buy a house, you're kind of locked in a lot of times. Um,
I don't know
so
what you mean.
yeah.
What do you mean by that? Like, all right. So how many siblings do you have?
5 in total. I have an older sister than me, and then my middle sister, and then my little brother and my little brother. And my little brother Josh is who I record with, or who I do our show with.
And now, how far apart are you guys in age?
Me and Josh, I actually
I guess
don't know.
I forgot how old are
Oh,
you?
yeah.
I forgot to ask how old you are. If
Yeah.
you don't mind me asking.
I was born in
I got totally distracted.
1991. I am 34 years old.
Ooh, you are one
I
of
know,
the young ones then.
I get that. I hear that a lot in the toy community. And Josh is younger than me, so
Well,
I think he's 98.
we have Kyle, action figure addict. He's like 26, I think.
Okay, yeah.
He's younger than my oldest daughter. So, I have a really bad signal, and I have no idea why. I don't know how I look to you, but I can see I'm looking pretty rough over here. So
Someone using the
you
mic
can
there?
hear me though.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, as long as you can hear me, I guess that's all that really matters. It wasn't like this before we started, so hopefully, hopefully some things change. And that my son had come in here because he's always complaining about the signal. I'm like, I can't talk right now.
Right.
All right, so how much younger is your brother?
So he was born, I think, in 98. So we're about
wow.
7 years apart, 7 years apart. Yeah, something like that. But again, like we have that same interest of just collecting. So.
Yeah. So you didn't really have any built-in play friends at the time, right? Because I mean, he's that much younger. That's a huge difference.
Yeah.
When you're 9 and he's 2.
Yeah. I don't know. Like me and my sister played a lot. We played like house and stuff.
Okay.
And I used to skate too. So I would go out and skate as well. And
I like that.
It wasn't until like he was older that like we started playing Overwatch together. And we played the other games prior to that, but like Halo and stuff we grew up on. But Overwatch kind of built that relationship back because we were just like getting on and playing. And then we were realizing that we were just already talking about toys when we were talking on Overwatch, just, through Xbox Live and stuff. And then we're just like, let's just start recording that. And that's kind of the inception of the Collecting Brothers. But yeah, I didn't have a friend till later, but I don't know. I've always had a good relationship with my brother, Josh.
So as a kid, I mean, 91, I can't even imagine because toys are so advanced by the time you can remember. Do you remember like the first toys you played with? Not like the first ones you kind of fell in love with, but I know for our age, and I always use Adventure People, Hot Wheels, Army Men.
Yeah.
I feel like Hot Wheels would still be there, but all those other things we've advanced so much by the 90s. I was almost graduating. I graduated in 94. 91, the first Plan B skate video came out. I was full force into just skateboarding. Any extra time that I had. So what was the first toys that you can remember playing? Not what you fell in love with.
Yeah.
The first toys you remember.
The first toys I ever remember playing with were like these like Jurassic Park figures. I still have, actually, my parents were cleaning out their garage and I actually was able to find one of my old toys, but
they're only like 5 years old. Why would you have so 91, like good Lord.
Yeah, we young out here, but that's all right. And hey, Allison. Yeah, no,
Machine Man says, welcome to America. Here's your mortgage.
Here's your mortgage. Locked in. You're paying for life.
And here's my other moderator saying, I graduated in high school.
I know it.
It's crazy.
Yeah, we're young. It's all right though. We all can bond together and talk about.
But we need it, right? We need the young people coming in. I mean, I don't like gatekeeping, being like, oh, you're not old enough. Who cares? Like, everything is here. It's everything is at the tip of our tip of our fingers that we can learn everything. So someone that is 15 years old that loves GI Joe, they can learn the complete history of every single GI Joe by sitting down on a weekend and just going through it.
Yeah,
You
checking
know,
out some Toy Connection videos, you know.
yeah.
No, yeah, and so I remember playing with like early, like I played with a lot of Barbies too, because my older sister, like, we had a dream house. Maybe it wasn't a dream house, but it was like a Barbie house that we played in.
Is
I
that
had
is that what your parents called their mortgage, their dream house?
yeah. That house served us well, I'll be honest. Yeah, it was a good house. But yeah, Jurassic Park, and then Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. I remember the ones that like you could flip the belt and the head would flip from helmet to
Yes,
unhelmet. I played with those a lot, yeah, too. Yeah. So that was kind of the earlier stuff that we played with.
so that's like the first things you remember, because
Yeah.
it seems like, I mean, again, I'm thinking about when I'm 5-6 years old. There's so many hand-me-downs. There's so many things you get from cousins. But I feel like by the 90s, if you were 5-6 in the 90s,
Mhm.
what you're looking, I feel like the toys have advanced so far, and you're not
Yeah.
getting those. You're
I
not getting the same toys because there's so many different ones.
mhm.
But I do
I had a
remember those
couple.
Power Rangers.
I love those things, man. Those things were so much fun. I had and I loved Power Rangers, the show, right? Like I was still like, you know, a lot of the kids in the 80s didn't have that regulation of like you can't sell toys, you can't sell product to kids while they're watching TV. Like even though that was still a thing, like we still got a little bit of that when it was even more regulated. Like I watched Animal from Power Rangers, I watched Beast Wars. Man, I loved Beast Wars, Transformers, right? Like that was my first introduction to Transformers, and I loved getting those toys as a kid. I remember having those. Um, yeah, no, so like there was still, you know, that little bit of overlap, and I can relate to the 80 kids
Well,
who got that exposure as well.
maybe they couldn't sell toys while they were watching them, but I can tell you, G.I. Joe, Transformers, Masters of the Universe, Jason the Wheeled Warriors, Mask, they sure sold a lot of toys, and we all watched the cartoon, so they failed.
Yeah, exactly. Those regulations, like they stopped, but like we were still buying the toys because we loved the show, you know. And you introduce a new
Exactly.
character or a new vehicle, a new villain, just to go out and make another show or another toy of it, you know.
Man,
And
I remember the G.I. Joe I remember the G.I. Joe commercials for the comic books. Those were the
okay,
best. Like those were amazing to watch. And then you'd go up to 7-Eleven and there'd be a spinner rack and you'd look for it. And
oh wow,
that's what I was always excited for. And sometimes they were tying with, like the new vehicles and new figures that were coming out, but they were
yeah,
specifically for the comic. And
oh,
I love G.I. Joe. So,
yeah,
for me, like that was
That's
everything.
right. Yeah.
Now, as you start growing up, or as you get, can get into that age of 5-6, do you remember like the first toys that you fell in love with? Like, what was the first line or property that you're just like? And I don't say collecting, because if you were
Mhm.
collecting as a kid, I think you had a
Yeah,
horrible childhood, and your parents should have had.
my I don't know, the first like toy that I really fell in love with, um, it was I wanted all of them. It was the Small Soldiers figures
Okay.
from the movie. Like they produced toys of that, and like I love just like the articulation on it, because it was a little more advanced than the ones that I used to be playing with like these little, you know, like 3 3/4 Jurassic Park figures, and it was just a nicer articulated figure, and it was bulkier. I had like the main Colonel guy, and that one I fell in love with, and I loved that thing. I don't know where it went, but I took that thing everywhere, man. When I was little, and then after that, when I actually got into collecting, I'll tell you that story too. Was Lord of the Rings, the Toy Biz Lord of the Rings
Okay.
figures. I remember picking up an Aragon in the. This is weird, and I don't know if chat. Let me know if you guys were the same. But the smell of that toy is something that to this day, like I love trying to find, because there's certain toys that,
Oh,
you know, whatever factory they come from smell exactly like
okay.
those old Toy Biz Lord of the Rings figures.
I recently, what did I open? I recently opened something, and I meant to say it on the review, that I was like, God, this thing smells. It had a very distinct. I'm trying. What the hell did I recently? I don't remember what it was. I'm trying
Yeah,
to look
I
around
love
at all
that
it.
smell, man. It's a smell I love. It's just
Oh, yeah,
childhood
it was
toys.
Tony the Tiger. It was Tony the Tiger.
Oh,
It had a
really?
very distinct smell. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. No,
We got
I
Brick something
love
jumping
those.
in here saying hi.
Hey, Brick.
Um, so but as a kid, like you love the
Mhm.
toy soldiers, right? And then
Yeah. Toy
like
Soldiers.
what
Yeah.
else? Because you were coming up during a time that had certainly passed me by. You know, when I hear
Mhm.
people talk about Turtles, Power Rangers, I was going full force into skateboarding. So I
Right. Right.
mean,
Right.
obviously I knew what they were. It's impossible not to know
Yeah.
what they were. Kimberly the Pink Power Ranger was hot. Still
Yeah.
is. Amy Jo Johnson. The fact that I can
Yeah.
remember her actual name. So what were the lines and the toys that you played with like the most that you just were really into? Because Toy
As
Soldiers, there weren't that many,
they weren't that many. No,
were
there was
there?
only a few. Toy Soldiers. I got like again, the Zords. I love the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger
Okay.
Zords. I love building that and collecting all those. We had a Rescue Heroes. I don't know if you remember that.
Oh,
That was
I
Fisher
do
Price.
because the girl that I dated, her son is actually probably about your age,
Uh-huh.
and we were together for a few years. He was very young. There's a whole show on the Rescue Ranger. Is that
Rescue
was it
or
called?
Rescue
Rescue
Hero,
Ranger?
Rescue
Yeah,
Heroes.
Rescue
I can't remember what
Heroes.
it was.
Big
Yeah,
and they had big feet, so they never had to
yeah,
worry about them like being able to
yeah,
stand them up. We had like a firehouse.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah, yeah.
those are really cool, and they had a whole cartoon and everything with it.
hmm Yeah, a lot of that. I also collected a lot of the Schumacher Batman toys. I had the
Okay,
Batwing,
I'm
the
sorry.
Batmobile, and I don't know what scale they were, but man, I loved those movies, and so I was like, those movies were made for me as a kid, and I loved collecting those figures as well. Yeah,
So
but yeah,
as you're going from your, from elementary school into middle school, are you still playing with toys at this time, or are
yeah,
you have a
yeah.
little brother?
I got my little brother, yeah, and we were both. He was playing with my toys, and we'd play pretend. And middle school, I was still playing with toys. Like I was collecting a little bit of the Star Wars stuff, but not like seriously. I was just having them, and it was more. It was more the Lord of the Rings. Like I started going into that Toy Biz Lord of the Rings line. Lord of the Rings came out because I was a huge Lord of the Rings fan, and
No,
yeah,
you didn't even mention Star Wars because you would have been prime for those episode 1, 2, and 3.
yeah. Um, I think the reason I don't mention Star Wars is because like Star Wars has always been a part of my life. Like it's just always been there.
Okay.
Like as a kid, I watched Empire with my dad. Like I've distinct memories as like a kid watching Empire Strikes Back with my dad, watching Return of the Jedi, watching these Star Wars movies. And so it's like it's never been like this thing where I just discovered one day. For me, it was always just like that's what we watch. We watch Star Wars. And so because of that, like I sometimes forget that I'm a very big Star Wars fan as well. But it's just always been here. And it's till this day, like I'll watch Star Wars whenever
That
it'll be on in the background.
that
Like,
kind of makes sense because if you're born in 91, like you say, we have Star Wars, Empire, Jedi.
yeah,
So you might not think of like, I remember like seeing episode 1. It was the first Star Wars that I saw in the movie theater. You'd already
yeah,
seen it, so it's kind of ingrained in your head. You already know who Darth Vader is and what happens, and you have an
hmm
idea of what's going to happen. So
yeah. And then I was definitely excited to go watch episode 1 and 2 and like 3.
yeah,
Yeah, those were right. I was a kid at those times, and so like those were made for me. And enjoy those movies. I love the prequels. I love all Star Wars. I'll be honest. I'm one of those that just Star Wars content. I'm here for. I'm watching. I'm checking it out. Um,
you're allowed to, even if they're bad.
yeah, yeah, exactly, man. It's fun. It's okay to enjoy things. Like I watched Tommy
I
Wiseau's The Room. It's a bad movie, but I enjoy it.
I again, I will say this. I like the Marvel movies.
Yeah.
Even the worst Marvel movie is still pretty good. And I
Mhm,
have
mhm.
disagreements with my moderator who can't stand certain ones, and I'm like, I enjoyed it. I just go there and I watch it. There are some that I just don't think are good. I understand that, but
There's some
sometimes
you
I
rewatch less.
also, yes, That's a good way to put it. There's some you rewatch less.
Yeah.
Like I love Thor, but you look at Thor: The Dark World, you're like, it wasn't the greatest movie, all right, but I
Yeah,
did enjoy
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
'Cause
exactly.
I never liked Thor till the Thor movie came out, and if it
Okay.
wasn't for Chris Hemsworth, I don't think I'd be as big of a Thor fan as I am today.
Yeah. Yeah. You did a good job.
Yeah. Yes. Ed Wentz, I'm not talking about him. I'm talking about the moderator that's always right. That would be Matthew.
Oh,
How do I know he's always right? He lets us know.
yeah. There you go.
So
Yeah.
in middle school, you're still playing with toys, right?
Yeah. It was
Now,
always part of my life. Yeah.
are your friends, or is it kind of like that hidden little secret?
And I love that you say it that way, and I feel like maybe that experience happened to you as well. But yeah, it was like this thing that we did at my house. Like it was just me, my brother, or my sister. We would just play with our toys. But when I was out and about, and like in middle school, actual school, I never talked to my friends about toys. Never. Through elementary school, through middle school, like it just wasn't something I talked about or shared. And it wasn't until my history teacher, I think it was U.S. history in middle school. I remember showing up to his classroom, and I think it was probably 8th grade. And I went into his classroom. I'm in 9th grade, 8th or 9th grade. Went to his classroom, and he had his 3 3/4 scale vintage collection Star Wars displayed in a case. He had his figures displayed in a case.
Okay.
He had the ships hanging from the ceiling, and I was like, "Holy crap, this is it!" Like I love this. And it wasn't until and his name is Mr. Beale. I still remember his name. He was just, out and open about Star Wars and his love of Star Wars figures. And that, like, for me, just having that representation of an adult collecting told me that it was okay. And then from then on, I was like, yeah, I collect toys. I brought them to school, like it took that representation to show me that it was okay. And I've always been okay with it from then.
And I think for you now, I remember in middle school, it was like, I say this all the time. I was still kind of playing with toys. I remember I kind of came back in a GI Joe with this kid that we were playing, but we didn't let anyone know. I look back at it now and I realized like everyone was still playing with them, but we were all lying about it. We all, other than Ed, you got to come into an era where there were people collecting outright, and it wasn't frowned upon.
Yeah.
I tell kids today that I meet skateboarding that don't understand how dead it was when I was their age. Like I graduated in '94, 2,700 kids in the school. I was the only skateboarder.
Sheesh.
After that, the X Games started, and then it got popular again.
Yeah.
So, when people look at me and they're like, "You're 49 and you still skateboard," and I go, "Yeah," and they're like, "Oh my." I have these guys that are younger that are like, why would anyone think that? And I go, because understand this. When I was your age, Tony Hawk was the older guy. Tony Hawk's 7 years older than me. That's not that much older. There was no one in their 40s skateboarding. Now these guys are in their 60s, and it's like pickup basketball, pickup hockey, or I guess beer league hockey. Like no one thinks twice about it. So I think like for you guys, so many of us athletes have, they've paved this way that it's not looked down upon, which I'm glad because I'm not one of those people. Well, in some case, I feel like you should have to go through the same things I did, but not completely.
Hey, listen, you went through that. You walked so I could run, right? You walked through that because when I grew up in the middle school, I was skating. Like everyone was skating in middle school, man. I grew up an emo kid, right? I was an emo, post-hardcore, screamo music. Like that was the music I was listening to at that time, and skateboarding was just part of that culture, and like that's why I picked it up because everyone was doing it, right? Collecting was that the other part of it, but but yeah, no, because people like you is like why it was okay for me.
And like for me, I love that. Like I love when I tell kids, I'm like, you don't realize how great it is that you have a skate park like in every single city. I didn't have that.
Yeah.
Like we had to like paint parking blocks, get kicked out of places, build our own ramps. Yeah, I wouldn't give that up for anything. Like I wouldn't give up
Right.
that for anything.
Yeah.
But I would also love to have some of the stuff that you guys had when my knees were still good. So
Yeah.
middle school, you're hiding it. If anyone asked, like they saw your toys, you probably said, that's my brother's. I just have to play with him because
I don't know if it was that.
you
'Cause,
want to
like,
lie about that.
we never were allowed to have people over. I don't know what it was for whatever reason, but we really rarely had people. I would always go over to my friend's house and like we would play like, video games and stuff. And so like the playing of the toys was just at our house with just our family.
Yeah.
I never really had people come over.
Okay.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
like, it wasn't
I was with
necessarily
a bunch
like
of
that.
skateboarders.
Yeah.
I'm with a bunch of skateboarders. So like if they see that I have my GI Joes out, or like we're already at the bottom of the barrel. Like we're not making fun of each other. Like we're already at the bottom of the barrel. All right.
I get you.
So going into
Yeah.
high school, what's it like going to high school? Like you said, you got into skateboarding. You said you got it. It sounds like you got into a certain
Mhm.
genre of music.
Yeah.
So what was that like?
High school.
Like what did you get into?
High school was kind of the dead years for collecting. Like I kind of moved away from playing with toys. Just as you grow up, you tend to
Yep.
shift. And
Are you collecting
as I
comic
grew
books
up,
or anything, or?
I got into comic books with probably 8th or 9th grade as well. So that's probably around that same time in middle school. I got into like the Ultimate X-Men
Okay.
comic line, which was like
Yep.
that weird movie universe sort of stuff. And I love the X-Men, right? I grew up on X-Men 97. I grew up on Spider-Man. I grew up on all those like early animated shows. And I had that love, continually. And then when the movies came out in 2000,
We just call it
live
the
action.
X-Men.
Yeah.
We just call it the X-Men. We didn't call it X-Men 97.
Oh, sorry. That's right. Oh my God. Sorry. Yeah. X-Men, the animated series. 97 is the new one. My bad.
No.
Yeah. But like I got into X-Men. I watched X-Men and the animated series of Spider-Man and stuff like that. And so like I always knew about those characters, but I didn't get into comics until like 9th grade, after the movies came out. And they started producing the Ultimate lines. And it was funny because like my mom actually bought me my first comic book. So I was one of those kids who didn't like reading. I hated reading. I didn't like doing it. It just didn't work for me. And it wasn't until my mom was just like, all right, whatever you like. We went to like Barnes and Noble or a bookstore, and she's like, just pick a book that you like. Any book you want, we'll get it for you. I was like, okay, cool. Like I get to pick something, right? That agency was nice. And I found this Ultimate X-Men book, man. And it was volume 1 with Wolverine on the front cover. And she's like, okay. And so that was my first introduction into like comics. And like my love of reading kind of flourished from that. I credit my mom for like just being so flexible and willing to like work with a stubborn kid to do that. And like, yeah, I got into comics after that. Like, and you kind of fall in and out of it, but
You're not the first person to say that. Like I didn't like reading, and my parents couldn't get me reading anything, and I learned how to read from comics because
yeah.
Again, first off, you have these pictures, but they're actually telling a story. It's not like a picture
Right.
book. They're actually telling a story, and you have real dialogue in it. It's not picking words. You're not trying to teach someone how to read.
Yeah. And it was.
I love the X-Men that.
Yeah.
Oh, I love the X-Men that none of us ever questioned why Wolverine sounded like he was from Australia. But I wouldn't change it. Like. I totally overlooked it. He's from Canada, right? Listen, I live in Detroit. Canada is
Oh, okay.
Canada is closer than any state. All right. When I was told they say A after everything, watch it. I'm like, what do you mean? And then I actually heard it, and I went, oh my God, they say A after everything. Like we used to say dude after everything.
Okay. Yeah, no,
he's a Canadian Australian.
Whoa, there you go. Yeah.
So high school.
II, right? Yeah, high school.
What are you doing in high school? Like, you get away from you get away from toys.
Got away from toys. was still reading book comics and stuff, and still like loving the X-Men movies that were coming out. Spider-Man, I loved Spider-Man because the movie's live action.
Oh my
I
God,
started
you were
with the
right.
animated series, so both the
So you're
properties
right in
that I
that
liked.
age.
Yeah, man, I was right in that age. Like that's why, like the animated series, like I have a deep respect and love and joy for them, and I can't wait to show them to my son. Because like that's where that love of action figures, or sorry, like the love of superheroes came from.
Yep.
So to have both the X-Men live action and the Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies come out like as a kid, like it was just like I was set up, man. I was destined, doomed to love this stuff.
So this is where I like when I look at like the younger kids and I'm like, I wouldn't change my skateboarding and what I did with my friends for anything. But when I look at them now, I'm like, what I wouldn't do to be 16, 17 and have all this stuff. Same with like what you're saying. Like you're coming in, you didn't have to live through some of the really awful movies that we were given.
Yeah.
Now you also missed some amazing stuff too, but starting off with like remembering, Spider-Man, the Sam Raimi Spider-Man. You can go back and watch Sam Raimi Spider-Man right now, and you
holds up.
Know where you're not like really like.
Yeah.
I love the Wonder Woman show and the Hulk show, but let's be honest.
Yeah.
They're not that great.
Yeah, I agree with you, man. And I think I'm kind of just like making this connection because I think I grew up on those movies and I loved those characters, but I also loved those movies, those live action movies. In high school, I started getting into more like filmmaking and music. I was in a band in high school. I was in a alternative band in high school. And but I was also like making my own YouTube movies, like really, really early YouTube stuff. That's still out there. But I was getting into cinema, like Sam Raimi. I started investigating him more and found out Evil Dead and like got into all those fun directors, man, in high school. And so like that was part of also like just that growth that came from being exposed to superhero movies. Because I took it a little deeper because like I loved those movies so much. I wanted to learn about them. I'm starting to watch Raimi's movies. I'm watching, Matrix came out too. Holy crap, Matrix was a moment too.
Yes.
I still actually have my McFarlane Neo and Trinity back here on my bookshelf from the bank scene, the McFarlane toys or statues that they did. Those were also like big for me, man.
The Matrix was a movie I didn't want to see. I thought it looked stupid. And then we went and saw it at the dollar show. So it was like a year after it came out. My buddy's like, let's just go see it. It was standing room only. That's how packed it was. And I remember walking, and my buddy had already seen it. And I remember walking out, and I was just like, I cannot believe that I didn't want to see that.
Yeah, right.
Because it was just one of those, like, another movie that isn't like that, but was Something About Mary.
Okay.
And I was like, this looks stupid. I don't really like him. I don't think he's funny, which I do think, actually. I think Ben Stiller's hilarious now. And I remember seeing Something About Mary later on, and I went, man, do I regret not seeing this in the movie theater.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's like you're growing up like during an amazing time.
I agree, man. Like it was a great time for like cool new things, but also like we also got superheroes, like early superhero stuff,
Yeah.
And I enjoyed all of it, man. I ate it all up. I started making and shooting our own little YouTube videos with my brother, and I was in a band. Like high school was pretty good for me. Like I know a lot of people like high school is probably like the worst time for them, but I had a really good time in high school, and I enjoyed going to school. I know that's probably weird for people to say, but yeah, from skating I transitioned to like being in a band. So I stopped skating.
That's a huge. That is a very popular transition for a lot of people.
Yeah, it's very natural.
I know, especially through my era. Me growing up, it was all punk rock for most, and then it switched to the rap and stuff, which again,
the new metal, no, not new metal. Yeah, I think it's
there's new metal, and then there's there's all that different type of stuff. And
Yeah.
but I know a lot of guys, they went into bands, and I think it was just, you're already socially awkward in many ways, or you're doing something that's socially unacceptable. So then you move into this socially unacceptable music. And again, if you're already into punk music, that's what punk was all founded off of. I mean, Bad Religion is literally a cross with it crossed out. And you hear them talk and they go, it's 1978, you're starting a band, and you go, what's the most offensive thing that we can think of? Well, you nailed it, because I still have people give me dirty looks wearing that shirt.
Did you ever listen to the Rock Against Bush compilations?
No, but I know about it.
Oh, okay. I learned a lot of punk bands through those compilations.
I believe Fat Mike did that, did he not?
Yeah, it was Fat Records. Yeah, it was Fat Mike. Yeah, no, I learned a lot of punk music from Fat Mike, from those compilations. I also listened to a lot of like the Pop Goes Punk or Punk Goes Pop, or all those little weird cover stuff that they did.
We went and saw NoFX at St. Andrews in Detroit. This would have been probably 95 or so. Okay. 94, 95. I think we were still in school. So maybe 93. And when we were leaving, they were handing out CDs, Fat Music for Fat People. And it was 1 or 2 songs of all the bands on Fat Record.
Yeah.
And we found so much music from that. Strung Out, Lagwagon, obviously, NoFX had a couple, even though they're on Epitaph. Rancid had a song on it because they did an EP with them. That's like L7 was. I mean, there were so many things. Propaganda. But it was you don't think it's genius then, but you look at it now, it's like he burned a CD. He has and he's handing this out. Or he's having them handed out at all of his shows, rather than try and sell it for $10. Here you go. And then you're gonna go, and if you like 4 of those bands, you're gonna buy those records.
Yeah, man. It's an interesting time, like back then, right, where you could go to a show like that had similar bands and like find out new music, or pick up these compilations and like find new music that way. And like I don't want to be a old head about it, but like there was something special about that. I remember going to the library and just cycling through CDs, and like if it was a cool cover, I'd pick it up. Right? Maybe it was good, maybe it wasn't. And nothing's punker than a library, right? Free stuff. Come on.
We used to read the inside to see who the bands thanked, and then we'd go buy that type of stuff. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes not so much.
It's funny you mentioned Epitaph, because like them for me was like all my favorite bands from Epitaph, and I think that's the guy from Bad Religion, right?
Yeah, not Greg Graffin. I can't think of his name,
but he's the one that started. So like, I credit so much to that band and that label. Like they brought all my bands, man. So that was fun. But that was high school, man. And like that music inspired me to make my own music. So I played bass in my band, but I know how to play drums and guitar and stuff, and I still do to this day.
But it's funny that you say that, because like they gave music away, and I forget, it was one of the guys that helped with the H Street movies, Plan B movies, not Mike Ternansky, he passed away. I forget who it was, but he was saying like we would get like, we would get hit and they'd say, you can't use this music, you have to pay for the rights. Oh, okay. And he said I knew Brett.
Yes. Brett G is what Brick's saying.
Brett, what the hell's his last name? Brett. Come on, Brick, I know you know it. Anyway, he goes, I knew him, and I'd reach out to him and say, hey, we need some music. Can we use
Gurwitz?
Brett Gurwitz. Thank you. He goes, I'd reach out to him, and he said, use any music that you want. You know why? Because they knew no one is buying a skate video for the music.
Right, exactly.
But we learned so much music, from Operation Ivy to Pennywise.
Nice.
Bad Religion was in it. They knew that people were going to find that music, and they were gonna go out and buy the album. So when you had bands like Queen that were like, you can't use our music, and it was like, dude, no one's buying a skate video for your song.
Yeah.
And
I'm
I
gonna have to
understand for
stop you
like
there,
movies
Lawrence.
and
Don't
stuff.
don't you dare talk bad about my Queen. All right.
I just know that Queen stopped.
Yeah, they're a corporation. Their music's controlled by a
They
corporation.
if you were into skateboarding, so if you've ever seen the Birdhouse video, The End, all right,
Okay.
they the last part is Jeremy Klein, and I can't think of the other guy, and almost the whole video part, it's like a movie. It's all done to Queen.
Oh.
But after it went out years later on YouTube, they told them they can't use it. So they had to put new music in it, and no matter what, the music does not go with it.
I mean, Queen is irreplaceable, so
Yeah, but everything went with it
yeah.
was under pressure. So everything went with it. And if I go and watch it now, I'm like, this is just wrong.
Right. Feels weird.
Especially with like skate videos. I've seen they've done that a few times, and some of the guys, when they do skate videos, they time it, their wheels land at a specific point, or they take, and those are guys that are really good into filmmaking and stuff like that.
Spike Jonze, man, I watched a lot of his early skate stuff. Yeah,
but Spike Jonze went out and
he did stuff.
But he makes sure who he gets connected with, considering all the Beastie Boys stuff and.
Oh, right, that's true.
Yeah. Because people still wonder who, was the Mouse video first? I think it was Mouse video, or maybe it was Goldfish, I forget. Or was it the Sabotage? Because they're filmed the exact same.
Oh, yeah, the style.
And I believe the girl video was actually first, but either one, they were both done by Spike Jonze, so it didn't matter. It was his vision.
Yeah.
But I believe they said Beastie Boys actually saw that, and they were like, that's what we want.
Nice. And I love the Beastie Boys too, man. Those guys started out as a punk band too, and then they went into that whole rap stuff.
They did.
I love the Beastie Boys, man. Till this day, my favorite is Paul's Boutique. I still think that's their best album, and I know people don't like that, but I think that's their best album.
I don't argue with Beastie Boy fans.
Fair enough.
They are a cult in many ways. But hey, you know what? You love what you love, man. I'm one of those people. I'll say something sucks, and I always like to get pushback from people. I'll say that music sucks.
Yeah.
And they'll be like, what if I say punk sucks? I go, that's awesome. It does not change the way that I feel about it. I tell people soccer sucks. It is awful. What if I tell you skateboarding sucks? It doesn't change a damn thing.
Yeah, just like affect you, man.
Yeah, me telling you that soccer sucks, you should look at me and go, yeah, whatever. I've had the most fun doing it. Awesome.
Yeah. Or you can be like, yeah, that sounds about right. That you wouldn't like it. Like it doesn't matter. That does not affect your joy in it.
I've had people tell me like it's pretty ironic that your daughter is golfing right now, because I hate golf. I hate watching it. I think it's boring.
Me too.
And I go, does it make her? I go, it makes her happy.
Yeah.
Well, it kind of makes her happy. She sounds like every golfer that I've ever heard, where she's
makes
like, I hate it. I'm like, you sound like every other golfer. I'm not any good at it. Yep, you sound like every other golfer.
There you go. You gotta get better. All right, yeah. So let's take it back here. I'm in high school doing band, doing music. Was in not a punk band, an alternative band, and I graduated and went up to university here in Utah, and continued for about a year playing some shows. But with the distance, our drummer stayed in Salt Lake. Me and I was bassist and my guitarist. We lived together for a couple of years up here. I went to school at Utah State. And through that, a movie came out. A movie called Pacific Rim.
My son loves Pacific Rim.
And Pacific Rim changed it brought me back into collecting. So in 2013, when that movie came out, NECA started producing figures for it. And I fell in love. I love giant robots. I'm a huge Gundam fan. I love Gundam Wing, Gundam GT. Got into the older stuff later on, but like Gundam Wing and Gundam GT were some of my favorite. stuff. I loved Godzilla movies, right? A movie that mixes giant robots and giant monsters and they fight. Guillermo del Toro cooked for me, dude.
And has a good story.
And a great story. I love that story.
There was that Pacific Rim 2, which was absolutely awful.
It wasn't the best.
Oh, no, that's an understatement. It was the understatement
best.
of the show. It wasn't the best. Like
it wasn't the best.
It was fucking awful. All right.
I enjoyed it. But again, I'm one of those people that just enjoys it because I'm getting more content of it, right? But Pac Rim, man, in 2013, Guillermo del Toro just absolutely killed me. Charlie Hunnam, Charlie Day, Ron Perlman. Come on, dude. I'm here for all of those characters. And giant robots fighting giant monsters. I was in on it.
Okay, so all right. You like Pacific Rim 2. But you can admit that it wasn't, but you can admit it wasn't good.
Yes, it wasn't the best.
So Olivia and I, my daughter, we went and saw Aquaman.
Okay.
It was so bad that it was good. Or actually, I think we watched Aquaman here.
The first one?
Yeah.
Okay.
And, oh my God! All we could do was make fun of it. A matter of fact, she did a whole either a birthday card or a Father's Day card of it, and it said, "I know you wouldn't let someone steal me as a baby, like the tree people, but they weren't tree people because they went underwater."
Yeah.
When Aquaman 2 came out, I'm like, "Are we gonna go see it?" And she's like, "Yeah, we're going to see it." And it wasn't as comical as the first one. The first one, we were like, this is so bad.
It's just over the top, you know.
It was bad.
Yeah. Fair enough.
But no, I'm the same way. There are sometimes I sit back and I go, that was not a good movie, but I enjoyed it.
Yeah. But yeah, Pac Rim is what brought me back to collecting and like full on collecting. I still have to this day every single Jaeger that NECA released. I'm missing a couple of kaijus. I'm missing I think Trespasser. I'm missing some of the concept ones. I'm missing the tree guy thing. But like overall, I have the majority of all the Jaegers, all the kaijus. My brother Josh actually, for one, I think it was my birthday or Christmas, he got me the San Diego Comic-Con end credits version. Like Pac Rim just was so special to me. I watched it multiple times. I still have the ticket stub. That's how special it was. I still have that ticket stub, man. Back when we still got ticket stubs. Not to be an old head, but like it got me back into collecting. I had the full set. I kept them in box, and I was just like, oh man, I love just displaying the in box. And that I was collecting that. I went back into figures with those, man, and I eventually did open them. I'm an out of box collector. I'm not in box, but when I came back to it, I felt like I had to stay in box. But yeah,
see,
yeah.
I don't know what's best here. That how excited you are, like thinking about this, or the fact that you can remember, because everyone else that I talked to were like, oh, "Shit, dude, what the hell?" Our memory is so shot, and I'm straight edge. I've been straight edge my entire life, and I can't remember.
Okay.
You're so young. You're like, it was yesterday. We're all like, oh, man, what? Oh man, that was so long ago.
Right. Yeah.
No, I love Pacific Rim. I thought it was such a fun movie, and my son loved it, which made it better.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed with what they did with the second one.
Yeah.
It wasn't even the same.
It wasn't. Yeah, the director changed. It was a different feel. Like I knew what they were trying to do, but it wasn't great. And you know, I am excited for the new one, the prequel with Idris Elba coming back.
I didn't know they were doing. I didn't know they were
coming back. Yeah, they're doing a prequel to Pacific Rim. I actually have the omnibus of the comics that they released, Tales from Year Zero, and a couple of the other Tales from the Drift and stuff that they have. So like, yeah, again, got me. Not only did Pacific Rim get me back into like action figures, but I collect the comics of the Pacific Rim stuff. Right, it got me back into that whole world. And so I really do love that movie because it's a great movie, but also because of what it has done for me as an adult. It got me back into my childhood. And so, yeah, 2013 was a big year for me.
No, and like I said, that's awesome. The fact that you just have this feel for it. Brick wants to know, alternative band, like what sort of music are we talking? Any particular influence? Now, Brick, if you don't know, he was in a band. I don't know if he's still in a band. So he was in a band. I was on his show once, and articulated. What the hell's his name? Not articulated. Highly articulated. Got.
Oh, Adam.
Like, are you gonna talk music the whole time, or are you gonna talk toys? They pretty much talk music the whole time. So Rick wants to know
Adam.
what type of music.
Yeah. Let's see. Direct inspirations. A lot of emo bands, but like not like screamo bands, but just emo bands. So like Motion City Soundtrack. I would even say, and I know this might be blasphemous, like Newfound Glory.
Oh god, they're so bad.
Chiodos. I don't know if you know Chiodos, Seosin. A lot of those are screamo bands, but like, yeah, a lot of that stuff. My guitarist, he wasn't into that stuff. That's what I was into, but my guitarist was into like Jack Johnson. So he brought kind of more of the acoustic feel to it. And our drummer was more of a jazz drummer. An incredible drummer, by the way. But that's kind of the mix. I don't know how to explain the music we were making. Maybe like alternative, little like harder indie music. I don't know. Those words, genres are so fluid now. It's like it doesn't even matter. But like it was kind of like upbeat, but with like an acoustic feel to it, just because our guitarist was an acoustic player. So, but
my moderator Matthew wants to know if you watched the animated series of Pacific Rim.
Yeah, like the Tales from the Black or whatever, or the can't remember what was the anime. Yeah, the one on Netflix. I did. I enjoyed it. Again, I appreciate Pacific Rim. I would always watch giant monsters fighting giant robots, or just giant monsters, or just giant robots. I don't know if you watched the new Gundam series on Netflix, but holy crap, man, that one cooked because they switched the perspective on it. Instead of like the Gundam being good, you're coming from the perspective of the Xeon Empire, the bad guys technically, and you see a Gundam show up and just rip through all your mechs, and you're just like, oh my god, it's so scary. Yeah, and it would be scary if you're on the other side of a Gundam, man. That thing's unstoppable.
And
I love Godzilla too.
Who doesn't like? I mean, we grew up on Godzilla, and
Gojira.
Yeah, Godzilla was on, usually on Sundays, maybe Saturdays on the UHF channels. They were so bad, but we knew them all.
Yeah.
We knew them all. I mean, I couldn't tell you one. I just remember like you'd see like, hey, I know this one with Mothra on it.
Yeah. This is the one with the flying kick. This is the Mecha Godzilla.
The big rubber monster that's.
And dude, till this day, like especially Haya Toys, when they put out a figure of Godzilla, like my first checklist is like, does it look like a rubber suit and a guy inside of it? Because if it doesn't, I don't want it. And Haya is crushing it with their Godzilla figure.
So you like Godzilla, right?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen the movie One Crazy Summer?
I have not.
Okay. So One Crazy Summer, you ever see Better Off Dead?
No.
Okay. John Cusack. It's made by the same people. Anyway, go watch it.
Bobcat Goldthwait is in it?
Yep.
Okay, I like him.
So yeah, John Cusack, Demi Moore's in it. It's so outrageous, but there is a Godzilla scene, and you will die laughing.
All right, I'm gonna add it to my watch list. Let's see where I can find it. Looks like it's on Tubi.
You need to see Better Off Dead and then One Crazy Summer. One Crazy Summer doesn't get the love that Better Off Dead does, and Better Off Dead's amazing. So I'm not even gonna say it shouldn't. But One Crazy Summer, I think, is very underrated when people talk about some cult classics. It's done by the same people because there's animation in it. So the fact that one is so loved and one seems to be forgotten. But you need to watch them both. But there's an amazing Godzilla scene in it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah. Matthew says Better Off Dead is awesome. Crazy Summer also. The Godzilla scene with an actual Godzilla actor.
Oh, okay.
Just
Okay.
It's hilarious. It's so funny, and you're like, oh,
All right. I'm adding these to the watch
man.
list.
Figure Fight Club is jumping here saying, "What's up, fellas?" All right. So after you graduate, sounds like you went
Yeah.
on to college. Well, obviously you're a
Yeah.
teacher, so you had. I hope so. I don't know,
hope so,
dude.
right?
I got some school districts that we deal with, and I'm just like, you are the stupidest people I've ever dealt with, and you were teaching my kids. They're all private school, so.
Oh, okay. Maybe a little different, but yeah, I'm a public educator and went to college, got my degree, and became a teacher. I knew I was going to be a teacher going in, so it was a little easier for me. But
Did you always?
yeah, no,
Did you always want to be a teacher?
from high school, yeah, I'm one of those, I guess, an anomaly. I guess I don't know, or maybe a little bit more rare, but like going through university, like a lot of the preliminary teaching courses, they're like, why do you want to be a teacher? Right, more of those like entry level questions. You know, what made you want to decide to be a teacher? And a lot of people were like, oh, because I had bad teachers and I want to be different than the bad teachers that I had. Like the majority of the students were like, I had bad teachers. And I was always been like, man, I have amazing teachers through high school, through middle school, through elementary. Like I can still remember their names, like Miss Collins, Mr. Brown. Those are my elementary school teachers that I loved. Mr. Bates, Mr. Beal, Miss Ibarra, like those are my middle school teachers that I loved. And in high school, I had Mr. Euchre, Miss Roach, like these just Mr. Van, like these very influential adults that took care of me and nurtured my my education. And I've always had that support. And as a person, I was like, I want to do that. And that's what made me want to become a teacher. It was in high school, in my chemistry class, my AP chemistry class. I was like, I want to do this. And I even talked to Mr. Euchre about it. I was like, what's it like being a teacher? He's like, well, it's this, here's the positive, here's the negatives, right? And he always presented it in just kind of black and white, never like was swaying me one way or the other, which I loved him for that. And, I was just like, yeah, that sounds good to me. And then went to school for it. And, I went to Utah State University, which in our state was the best elementary education program that we had. And so I was like, yep, that's what I want to do. And that's where I want to be. And that's where I went. So yeah, no, it was in high school that I figured that out.
So you're one of the few people that I've talked to that you finished, you knew exactly what you were going to do, and that's what you went and did.
Yeah. And I attribute that to my parents, dude. Like throughout elementary, throughout middle school, high school, they always told me like, you're going to go to college. Like you're gonna get higher education. You're gonna go through school, and it's always like they said it so much that it just was part of like it became back in my head. Like I was like, yeah, sure, whatever. But when I was at that point in high school where you had to make those decisions, you're just like, yeah, no, like that's what I'm doing. Like there was never any doubt. Oh, go Aggies, Clint.
So I don't. Clint Jorgensen is here. Says have a master's from there. He says
Yeah.
Utah State is great. I feel like you're a little biased. I'm just saying. All right. I don't know. Like I feel like you're a little biased. I'm just saying.
It's nestled in its like own little valley, and it's a cool vibe there. And I fell in love with biking. So I've switched from like skateboarding as my extracurricular to like biking.
Like what kind of biking?
So like just like bicycles. Like I learned how to build
biking, BMXing.
Yeah, I got into mountain biking because there's a lot of great trails up there, man. Green Canyon. I used to ride that almost every weekend. So I had a giant, front suspension, no rear hardtail. I used to do that, and then I got into like old school biking. So like I have an old rally bike, steel frame biking that I built up into kind of a commuter gravel bike sort of thing.
Okay.
So yeah, that's what I kind of get into. But like I credit that to Logan, where the city where Utah State is located in, because of how small it is, you can just bike anywhere.
Okay. So then you love the movie Rad, right?
Rad was fun. It was a little bit before me, but yeah, I did catch it later on.
Okay. Honestly, God, it's one of my favorite movies.
I don't doubt it, man. It's a fun movie.
I fucking love it.
Yeah.
I tell everyone, I go, you have no idea how bad you have no idea how bad it bothers me that the greatest extreme movie is not a skateboard movie. It is a biking movie, and it's not even close. Like people are like, "What about Gleaming the Cube?" I'm like, really? Because
What
like
about Grind?
exactly, it's kind of like back in the day when GM came out with the Typhoon and the Cyclone. They put this 4.3 turbo in the in the small Jimmy and in the small Sonoma. And they called Chrysler and they called Ford up and they said, send over your fastest car. We got a pickup that's going to beat it. And Ford sent over Mustang and Chrysler sent over like a Daytona, and they're like, go away. Okay, you just go away. And I'm a Chrysler guy, you know.
Okay.
That's what I feel like when someone's like, what about? I'm like, no, just go away. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not even a BMXer, all right? So you go to college. I'm assuming, how long are you there for? 4 years?
I was there. I
went.
Yeah, I knew what I was going to do, but I had to go part time because I couldn't afford full time college. Again, I came from a printmaker and a seamstress, right? So that was my family's background. So I couldn't quite afford it. So I was working while still going to school and kind of paying it that way. And so I went part time. So it took me a little longer. I got out in 6 years instead of the 4. But that was because, again, it was just that part time kind of schooling that I had.
A lot of people go to school for 6 years. I know they're called doctors.
They're called doctors.
I love Tommy Boy too.
Yeah, Tommy Boy's a classic. Yeah. So, you know, it wasn't bad though, but I enjoyed it, and I was collecting during that time as well.
Yeah. So when you go back to collecting, like when do you
2013, man.
Okay.
It was Pac Rim. Pac Rim put me back onto collecting.
So
did you that stuff? Yeah.
So what year did you graduate?
Can't remember. I'll be honest, I can't remember.
You would have graduated around 2008. Born in 91.
High school. Yeah. 2009.
So you were yeah, you had a real short time window of not having the toys there. Like
yeah, that's true.
So when you weren't collecting toys, when you're playing in a band, you're skateboarding, do you look back now and go, yeah, I was collecting stuff, whether or not you realize it? Because I tell everyone, I go, I had 50 or 60 skateboards on my wall. I would take everyone's old skateboard and I would hang it on my wall. And I wasn't collecting them. I was just taking everyone. I look back at it now and I'm like, I was totally collecting. Didn't even realize.
Yeah. For me, it was movies.
Okay.
DVDs, Blu-rays.
You go from did you go from VHS? Because I went from VHS to DVDs. Then I was like, I gotta have this in Blu-ray now.
Yeah, I went from VHS to Laserdisc to DVDs to Blu-rays. That was like kind of my whole physical media route. But yeah, no, I got into Blu-ray collecting and like steelbooks and like the Mondo, back when Mondo was still an art company. Like they did steelbooks that were just beautiful with collaborations with actual artists. And so, yeah, I loved collecting. I still have it technically. It's just not out, but I have a pretty decent Blu-ray collection of some of my favorite movies and stuff. So, that kind of filled the gap here between toys.
Did you realize at the time you were collecting? Like, did you consider collecting, or were you just buying them?
No, I was collecting. Like, I was looking specifically like for the cool artist steelbooks. I was looking for the limited release figures. Hipster was. Hey, Radnam, you're not wrong, dude. I went through my hipster phase, right? After you come out of the screamo emo scene, the natural trajectory is hipster. I went through it. I'm sorry, Radnam. I love you.
What's after the punk phase? Because I'm still waiting to leave that. I got people ask me, they're like, so like a punk with toys. So you're saying like you're a punk with toys, or you're a punk rocker? And I'm like, have you watched seeing the shirts I wear and hear the music? Like,
yeah.
Like it's a play on words. I'm a punk rocker with toys.
Oh man, yeah. So yeah, no, I collected Blu-rays for a while, and I still love them. Like, there's like a couple holes in my collection where I'm just like, oh, I need that, but then like that's $15. I can like spend on toys. You know, so like all the money just got switched over. Like I want to fill that hole. I want to fill, you know, the hole in the Blu-ray
Oh yeah,
collection, but I can
you're a collector, all right.
yeah, I could spend that money somewhere else on
Yeah, I used to collect tapes. I used to collect CDs. And now I'm like, if it can't fit on this, I don't want the music. All right. Like,
yeah. Yeah. I got into vinyl to kind of support more of Radnom's hipster claims. Yeah, I got into vinyl.
I hate vinyl. I was never a record guy. It skipped. I'm like, you know what? I don't CDs or I like tapes. I resisted CDs because tapes you could just throw in the back seat. You didn't have to you didn't have to slide them back in, get scratched.
Yeah.
And back in the day when we were getting CD players were first starting off, they skipped like crazy in a car.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah.
I guess with the movement, yeah.
Yeah, you'd hit a big bump and it would skip to like another track. They were bad.
An album.
All right, so you said around 2013 you get back into collecting.
Yeah, like now, heavily back into it. Yeah.
At this point, have you met anyone? Are you dating anyone?
Yeah. So I was about 2 years out from meeting my wife.
So you've been dating 2 years.
No, so I hadn't met her yet. I met her.
You hadn't met her, okay.
In 2015, I met her. And
so, were you dating anyone when you got into toys? Or are you not? Okay.
No, I wasn't.
So you didn't have to have that. You know, I really wanted to waste my money on something, and I'm going to buy toys.
Right. Yeah, I didn't. I was just like, that's where my money goes. Yeah. No, yeah, I didn't meet anyone. I wasn't really dating anyone. Yeah. And then I met my wife, and my wife is the best. You know, I guess everyone's wife is the best, right? But mine's better.
Believe me, I've talked to a lot of people that don't think that.
I guess you're right. You're right. I love her, and she's always supported my collection.
She's not watching. You don't have to go. She's not watching.
She's not, exactly. She's not watching. She's probably never going to watch this. This is just me and you, man. This is how I talk about her. Yeah, she's always like supported my collecting and been okay with it. She's never like frowned upon. And even like when I get a cool figure, I just like how I get over with Pacific Rim, I get really excited, right? I have that excitement, and I love just being like, "Oh, like, check this out!" And she's nice enough to like be like, "Wow, that's really great." You know, it's nice.
You can tell she so doesn't care.
Exactly, and you know what? She does a good job to like placate me, and to kind of soften my ego a little bit. But like, yeah, you're not. It's good. Well,
oh, that's real nice.
Right. So
you got there.
Yeah, she's an amazing wife, amazing partner, and I met her up at Logan, up in Utah State, and we've kind of gone on this journey together, and allowed me to keep collecting, and yeah.
Now, does she collect anything? Does she have any hobbies?
Yeah, she's a bookworm.
Okay.
As you can see, like majority of those books back there are hers. I have a couple of comic books. I have like Preacher. I got Walking Dead. I got Ghost in the Shell. I have a couple of things back here, but most of these books are all hers.
Who was it I was talking to? I was talking to somebody about this, and I go, does your wife have any hobbies? It's like, oh yeah, she collects books. I go, have you told her she can go to the library? They're all free.
Hey, yeah, she checks them out too.
There's more money for you to spend on toys. Hey, I know I just spent $300 on toys this week.
Right.
You can just go get that book out at the library. Oh, they're even digital now. You don't even have to go there.
You can just listen to it now, yeah.
And now I'm single.
But just like how we collect, right? Having something physical in our hands is nice, something tangible. And I let her explore that as well. I support that as well for her. Like, go for it. Collect your books, collect your series. It's fun to have books. It's fun to have things.
Yeah, it's funny because, like, all right, I don't collect books. I don't like reading. Just say.
Okay.
If it's not good enough to be made into a movie, I don't want to watch it.
Oh, Larry.
Okay, but
listen out.
G.I. Joe Classified, right? You have G.I. Joe Classified. I don't know if you collect it.
Mm-hmm.
They've changed the boxes numerous times, and then you have the deluxe. And I'm like, and people hate it because it's always changing. I go, I love it because when you go to a library, when you look at a bookstore, books are always different sizes,
Sure.
and so they stick out. And I
Yeah.
actually like having a shelf of all my classified. And they're all in numeric order. They're just
Right.
the boxes but I like having the different size. I understand why people are like they've changed the boxes so many, but I like having these different sizes. One sticks out a little, one's a little like. It's weird, but I have that feeling like when you're looking at a library, it's not all smooth right across.
It's because you're a punk, Larry. You like libraries.
It could be. I have issues. I'm willing to admit that yes, I have many issues.
There you go. That's the first step.
So that's awesome. You meet her. Like, did you feel like you had to was there like a way you broke it to her, or was it just like, hey,
No.
I collect toys, deal with it?
Yeah, that was the cool thing about her, man. Like, I was just myself. Like, it was really weird because like I wasn't like really looking to date anyone at the time when I met her, but I just kind of like fell for her, and I was just myself at that point. Like, I was very, very comfortable with myself and who I was, and I didn't care if you liked me or not. And she liked me, and so I was like, cool, we can keep hanging out, right? It was sort of that thing. And then I showed her Adventure Time. I'm a big, big fan of Adventure Time, and Pendleton Ward, yeah, like. And I showed her that, and she like understood it and got it. And to me, that was like, okay, cool. Like, you're kind of cool. And then, as I invited her over, she sees my wall of like Pacific Rim figures. She sees my DVD, Blu-ray collection. And so from day one, it was always just like, that's who I was. That's who I am. And she accepted that and was cool with it. So, we got married.
Yes, I've talked to some girls, and they're like, "Oh," I tell them I collect toys, and like, "Oh, that's really cool. You collect toys." I'm like, "No, you don't understand." And they're like, "No, I have hot." I'm like, "Dude, I don't think you understand."
It's different,
And then they realize, and they're like, "You collect toys," and it's like, I told you, I told you weren't gonna understand until you actually see what I do, and then that's a whole nother story there.
Yeah. And it can be tough to break that sometimes. I got lucky, I'll be honest.
Yeah.
Having someone just accept that, and like even with the YouTube stuff, she's also been very supportive about that and stuff. So it's been fun. She's a great partner.
See, for me now, it's kind of like if I meet anyone, like they're gonna know. I mean, there's no surprise. Like, there's no like, hey, I'm gonna start a YouTube channel, and they're like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's already established. Like, like you're gonna like, there's gonna be a checklist. Do any of these things bother you?
Right.
Why would you ask that?
What are you comfortable with?
She's like, do you do some of these? Some or all. One or the other.
Hey, yo, I just got a message from Ed. He's telling me this like Godzilla suit you can put onto your figures.
What the? From my moderator?
Yeah, from Axion.
Oh, he sent it to me too, I think.
Ed, I'll check this out. I'll check that. It says sold out, but I'll check it out.
Oh no, he didn't send it. So I can't show the things Ed sent to me.
Whoa. Don't leak the group chat.
We recently talked about it. I'm like, if I die, just erase the chat between Ed and myself. It's probably erase all of them, but make sure you get rid of that one. All right,
that one specific. Yeah, let's get an end date on that one.
Because my kids would be like, I thought Dad was a really good guy. Then I saw his chat with Ed.
Yeah, there you go.
I take that back. My kids already know. I think Ed's kids know also.
Oh, boy.
All right. So you start dating. It looks like you got married. I keep seeing a ring on your finger. So now, do you guys have kids?
Yeah, I got one little son. He's 4 years old. Just one, and I love that kid, man. It's
I hope
having having a kid is definitely a trip, and it's one of my favorite things, man. Is like Oh, okay. I'll say this: when she was pregnant and we were going to like the baby classes and stuff, there was one time where one of the people, the instructors, was like, "What are you worried about when you have your kid?" And a lot of people were like, "Oh, just want to make sure that he has a good education," and like other kids were like, he's loved." And then it came to me, and they're like, "Well, what are you worried about?" And I was like, "I'm worried about that I'm gonna be too weird for my kid." So it's like I'm a weird person, and I have weird interests and hobbies and stuff. And the facility, I don't think they've ever heard that response, but like that was a fear in my head. I was like, what if I'm like too weird for my kid? But like when you get a kid, the kid's just you in miniature form, and they just love you, without any
They don't know
anything,
what's
any
weird.
conditions. Exactly, they just love you for you. And I do voices, like I do accents and stuff. I love doing accents, and my kid can do accents.
Does he
And like
do does he do Moss Man yet?
no monster.
Oh no. He drops
But
his milk. Oh no.
yeah. Oh, no. So your kids
You
just
tell him he
they're
needs to
kids.
you need to clean your room up. And one business day. One business day.
We actually have a ska band song that we listen to clean up our rooms. So like that's another cool thing too, because like you get to expose your kid, you get this little like human to experiment on and like expose them to things that are like fun to you, and then like you get to see them react to it. And so that's a really fun thing about having a kid. And I love my son, and it's fun. Like we watch Muppet Treasure Island, and like we love singing all the songs. And he's like musical too. Like he's got something in him that just makes him more musical. And I love, and I try my best to support. But we do like funny voices, and yeah, it's a trip having a kid, man. And I know he's only 4. I know later on he's gonna get bigger and maybe not like the things I like, and that's okay.
I thought the same thing. I remember when we found out we were having a boy, and I was like, this is gonna be awesome. I'm gonna get him skateboarding. So I can be like, hey, I'm taking him to the park, and she's gonna be like, you're the skate park, and be like, he's the park. My son wants to he might have nothing to do with skateboarding.
Mm.
My daughter, she would try and do anything. Like she likes spending time with me.
Okay.
My son likes, he likes comics, but he's a completely different person than me. He doesn't like comics, he
Right.
likes comic book movies and like superheroes and stuff. Completely different person than me. So different. Um, where Olivia is, I think most people would admit that have seen her and met her, that she is a mini me, right? Like,
Okay. Okay.
so we've been watching Buffy and Angel.
Oh, nice.
And we're watching them in chronological order. And she
Okay.
doesn't live with me full time, right? So she
Mm.
comes over and I do a lot of YouTube and stuff. And
Yeah.
so we'll watch 1 or 2 episodes, maybe a night when she's here. And I'm like, hopefully, and she's a junior or she's a sophomore. I'm like, hopefully we'll be done before you go to college. She's like, what are we gonna watch next? I'm like, I'm thinking 90210 because
Oh,
I love 90210. But I'm also thinking in my head like, good lord, we still have like 4 seasons of these 2 shows left.
yeah. Okay. It's a
It's
lot.
taking a long time to get through this. You can get through a lot like in the winter when you're just stuck in the house and there's
Yeah.
nothing to
Yeah.
do. And next thing you know, you watch 5 or 6 episodes. But like
Yeah.
she's a lot like me, and we like if I go, hey, we're going to the toy store, let's go. And let me she's 16. She
Mhm.
doesn't care. She's
Yeah.
gonna go with me. She helped me find my plunderling, like pick out what plunderlong. And she
Okay.
was looking at the plunderlings, and I'm like, why don't you get one? She's like, oh, I can get one. I'm like, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Dude.
And then
Yeah.
she's going through each one trying to figure out which one she wants.
Yeah.
She's as
I
indecisive as me.
I kind of have a little bit of that experience. And I'm planning on him being my only kid, and I never got Hot Wheels as a kid. I always got like the Alf brand sort of stuff, and it's cool because like he got into Hot Wheels, and a part of my like deprived childhood has shown its head because like I'm picking up tracks, I'm picking up sets, I'm picking up, and like he loves it because he's like, I get this. And now I do like it has to earn it, right? Like if we have like a good week at school or something like that, or we're working on regulating our, I don't know if people want to hear this, but regulating our bowels. Like he needs to like listen to his body and stuff to go to the bathroom. And so like I'm buying it, but like I use it as a reward system. And but it's just fun because like I get to play with him with Hot Wheels. And that's something I never had as a kid, and I'm getting to live that through my own son, playing with them and stuff.
I tell everyone, I'm like, collectors should not have kids. So my ex, when I met her, she had a daughter that was 5 years old, and I raised her I raised her entire life. So I'm her dad, even though her mom and I aren't together.
Okay.
So Walgreens had Care Bears, and they were like the original, and I believe there were 10 of them, and I was able to find 9 of them.
Nice.
And I don't even know which one it was. Those things are probably in the garbage now. And I searched all over. And I remember Susan was like, she doesn't care. I'm like, no, you don't understand. There are 10. She has 9. We need all of them.
We need all
No,
of them.
you need them. And your point is, she has 9. There are 10. I never found it. I don't even know which one it was. I just know that it drove me nuts because I stopped at so many Walgreens looking for it. Because they were like Walgreens exclusives or something, but they were just like the original Care Bears.
Yeah.
And like I said, they're long gone. Because if she had them, they'd be in my possession.
Right.
And I don't believe that they're like, I still have all of her Justice League of America figures.
Okay.
Because when I met her, she was in the Justice League of America. She used to watch it with her papa. And so, you know, I don't remember if I bought her first ones or maybe she had a couple, but then we started buying them, and I have a whole bunch. I would love to actually put them out, but they don't stand up. They're like the worst figures to stand.
Oh man.
They don't even have, I don't like using stands. Some things you have to, but they don't even have pegs in their feet. They just fall over because they have the small little feet.
Yeah. It's terrible.
All right, so little 4-year-old.
Yeah.
And you're teaching him to be a collector, I'd take it.
I'm teaching him to have fun. And I think that's something my dad taught me and my dad also works really well with like kids. And that's something that we inherited. Like me and my brother, we're both teachers. And so like I think as a teacher, I love just like getting to know kids and letting them be themselves and explore their interests and stuff while still being a teacher. I think it's a good job for me. And with my kid, I just want him to like the things he likes. You know, if he likes it, cool. If he doesn't, that's okay. Even if I like it, I have to be very okay with that. You know, and it's just something that I'm worried about, but like I'm hopeful for. I don't know if he's gonna like Star Wars, but I watch Star Wars with him. You know, it's on, just like how my dad just had it on. And if he likes it, cool. If he doesn't, that's okay. Later on in life, but it's going to be on in our house just because I like it, you know.
But through them, you learn and find things that you would not have liked because they did.
Yeah,
and you'll find this out. We've talked about this numerous times. I know Ed and Matthew. Well, Matthew still has a younger daughter, but Ed's kids are grown, not out of the house. At least one's not. But you'll find like there are certain like TV shows that they used to watch that you start to miss. Have you had this happen yet, that he's watching one of his shows and then you realize he's no longer in the room and you're still watching it?
Oh yeah, I got it. Yeah, no, you're right.
And you're like halfway through it, you realize he's not there, and you're like, I gotta finish it though.
For me, and I think a lot for my generation, it's Bluey. Bluey, like the storytelling within Bluey is incredible. Like I have a favorite character in Bluey. Like that's how much I've watched the show with him and then also without him. It's that show, and I've cried. I'm a very emotional person. Like I'm very comfortable with my emotions, and I'm okay with like crying. Movies taught me that, but yeah, like I've openly cried watching episodes of Bluey. And I'm telling you, it's like a 5 to 8 minute episode, and the fact that they can make me cry within that time frame is nuts, dude.
I've
Yeah, that show cooks.
so I always hear good things about Bluey. I've never seen it. I know what it is.
Mhm.
Not like Caillou. What's his name?
Caillou.
Caillou. I
Caillou.
hear. I remember Barney.
Yeah.
You know, I'm glad that none of the kids that I've ever been involved with liked. That sounded absolutely wrong. None of my stepdaughter, who would have been, and obviously the girl before her, my ex, her kids, no one liked Barney, so I never had to deal with that.
Right.
I did go through the original. What are the colored? There's 4 of them. Hot potato.
The Wiggles.
The Wiggles.
Hot potato.
I went through the original. You know, where's Jeff at? Is he asleep outside? I'm like, Jeff has narcolepsy. One of you needs to check him in and have this. Like,
get him on some medication.
Every time I hear that, I'm like, Jeff has narcolepsy. All right. Why do you guys let him wander off? Like, where's Jeff at? None of you are like, Jeff, we need to go to the doctor, right?
Yeah. Musically, Wiggles cooks, dude.
Yeah, and then they changed it. We were at Motor City Comic Con, and there were all these people coming in as Blue, and we saw people dressed up as Steve.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Steve was there, and across from him was the new guy, not the guy that replaced Steve, but the new guy. I think he's Asian.
Oh yeah.
And there's nobody over there, but there's everyone over for Steve.
Yeah, it's the new kid. Like the people with money are gonna go see Steve.
Yes. Well, we didn't realize that he was there. Nor did I believe anyone would ever want to actually go see Steve. But yeah, I guess when you think about it, like that was not my age group.
Oh yeah.
But I guess if you're into autographs or that you're that type of geek, like that's your geekdom.
Yeah.
You grew up on it. You might be like, hey, you know what? I need to see this. Just like guys my age want to see the Fall Guy. Yeah. Lee Majors is awesome. So this whole different. He's the Fall Guy. He's the Bionic Man or $6 Million Man. You know, he was awesome. Steve, not so much. No offense, Steve.
I would pay money to see Steve. I grew up on Steve. I grew up on Blue's Clues.
I got a video of him. Like, yeah. I got to figure out how I'm going to put it together. But I did a whole video walking through Motor City Comic Con. Oh, nice. I got to figure out how I'm going to edit it and everything.
Yeah.
But I didn't realize that he was there.
Oh yeah,
there were more people there to see him than Bryce Dallas Howard. Yeah. Like she had a very short line compared to Steve.
Let's be honest though. Like I think the reason for that is because Steve hasn't done appearances.
That's what I'm wondering.
It's been a drought, you know.
Because he left. He was like, I'm done with Blue's Clues.
He did,
and I don't know what he did because I'm not a Steve fan. I didn't follow his career. I'll be 100% honest.
Yeah.
US Combat Dojo says, my daughter loved Barney. My wife rented a Barney suit for her 3rd birthday, and I had to wear it for her party. I hope you're divorced now. I hope you sent. I hope you handed her divorce papers in that fucking Barney suit. Go hand these to your mom. Ed says he went on to be a musician.
Okay. That's fair.
You know, everyone wants to be a musician these days. All right. So let's get into like what you're doing now. Like, what are you collecting now? Is there anything that you're specifically into, or are you just kind of like a little bit of this, a little bit of that?
Yeah, no, growing up, you had the Power Ranger toys, the Jurassic Park toys. But what brought me back to collecting was the NECA stuff, and NECA runs 7 inches, but it got me into like that 1/12 scale stuff, and that's mainly what I can collect. As every new collector gets into, we get into Marvel Legends first, and so I got into that.
Now, Does your wife ever ask, why do you get 7 inches and I don't?
Yeah, because it's plus. It's more than that. Yeah. So, yeah, so I got into 1/12 scale stuff and Marvel Legends. I love my X-Men, love my Spider-Man, so I picked all those up, man. I have a pretty good X-Men collection. Still building that. Got a good Spider-Man collection. Picked up a couple of
Did you
Avengers
order
stuff.
this guy?
Yes, he's in my pile of loot right now. So wait to get a little more in there before we ship him out. But yeah, he hit, and yeah, so I got into Marvel Legends, and then there was a toy store that kind of showed up here in Utah called Megalopolis. I'm not sure if you've heard of.
I have heard of that.
Okay, well, there was a giant debacle with them. Me and my
I've
brother
heard
did a
that
whole
too.
video. Exactly. But the cool thing is my brother Josh, he was also getting into collecting kind of the same time that I was getting it back into it, and he met some of the Four Horsemen. They actually did an event at Megalopolis because they had a brick and mortar store, and some of the Horsemen showed up and they like brought their Mythic Legion figures, and from that, Josh kind of showed me that world, and I collected McFarlane figures, I collected Hasbro figures. Let's see what else. I collected some Diamond Select stuff, right?
Not anymore.
But not anymore. Yeah, we're gonna be talking about that today. Yeah, that's true. But
that was being me. I'm sorry, guys.
No, 100%.
Anyone lost their jobs. I apologize.
Yeah, it's rough. But yeah, so that's kind of like that field. That's my main collection. A lot of the toys I have are just like the Marvel Legends, Black Series, Diamond Select stuff. All my McFarlane stuff has been put away. It's not my thing. But I got a couple of SH Figure Arts, Dragon Ball Z figures. I love Dragon Ball. But once I discovered Mythic Legions, once my brother Josh showed me Mythic Legions, it was right as they were releasing their Cosmic Legions, their first book of Alcatar or whatever, and that sucked me in, and I switched from like collecting, X-Men, Spider-Man, Hasbro, Marvel Legends figures to solely collecting Cosmic Legions. And
really,
I'm currently caught up. I have the Ox Crew Book 1 coming in and Ox Crew Book 2 coming in. And that company, I love that company. I love the people that work there. I've met Nate Barch. Nate Barch actually lives here in Utah, so we get to meet him every so often. And he's the artist that does the artwork for the Four Horsemen. I've met Jim Pozzoli, one of the Four Horsemen there. And so and meeting them and talking to them, like just kind of like made me want to support them even more than being independent toy companies. And yeah, and that's kind of my main thing that I collect now is Cosmic Legions. Here and there, I pick up here and there, the odd Marvel Legends, the odd, figure. But my majority of my focus is on Cosmic Legions right now.
Now,
That's
what
favorite.
was it about Cosmic and not Mythic Legions that? I'll be honest, like I picked up a couple Cosmic at at PowerCon a couple years ago, and I think some of them are cool. I have no, like, they don't do anything for me, but I love Mythic Legions. I think that they, like, when I look at what they do, and again, I'm a Joe guy, right? I think people know this. You can see I have a bunch of Marvel Legends and stuff, but I said, like, if I wasn't doing military, I would probably be all in on this fantasy stuff, which is odd because I'm not all in on it now.
Right.
But I mean, I do like some of the Cosmic, but they don't do it for me. So what is it about it that, like, you saw in those that?
For me, it just takes it back to Star Wars, man.
Okay.
I've always loved sci-fi. That's just one of my favorite things because of Star Wars, right? I love just getting into space, weird stuff. Like, I've seen a lot of weird sci-fi movies, but like I don't know, Silent Running. I don't know if you remember that movie, but just weird, obscure stuff. And I just love being in that world. And so when you take a night, like, it's cool. It's great.
Yeah.
Love this figure. But you give me this space bounty hunter, I'm here for this, man. I don't know. I think
I'm the exact opposite. Like, I'm right. like everything you said, like, you flipped it around, but I'm not into like fantasy stuff like that.
Mhm.
But again, like, and I'm just interested. Like,
Yeah. I just it's the sci-fi aspect of it, and then
yeah,
like being its own little world. You can create your own stories with with the Legion stuff, right? You can make your own characters, and like I've made two different characters out of these, you know, figures that I love to like create a world for and tell a story about. And I don't know the fact that you can do that with a action figure takes it back to my old days where you're playing with toys and creating stories for them. Mythic Legions just kind of tapped into that for some reason with their pop and swap ability and their their cool new characters that you have, right? Novian Lean to me is one of my favorites, and I just love picking him up and like pretending he's on a mission, and it just takes me back to playing with toys instead
that's
of
cool.
like displaying toys,
See, and
which is what I
I
do
like,
with Marvel Legends.
yeah, like I said, I like hearing that. Again, like just because I don't like it, like I don't want to, I'm not one of those people
Yeah.
that, like, hey, if you like it, that's awesome, but I want to know why.
Mhm.
Like that interests me. Like, what is it? Because like I'm looking at it, going, you know what? I tried and I just don't get it. But like what did you
Yeah.
see about it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Someone could say the same thing about same thing to me. You're like, what the hell do you see in those GI Joes? And
Right.
well, we might be here longer than 4 hours. Um,
You want the full answer. Yeah.
yeah. God knows I'll give you the full answer. That's the problem.
Yeah. And I didn't get into fantasy till later in my life. Like, yeah, I got into like Lord of the Rings and stuff, but I never like considered that fantasy. I thought it was just like good, fun, storytelling.
Yes.
It wasn't until I got into Berserk that I was like, oh, okay, this is what the fantasy can be, could be, and like this is why people maybe like knights and like swords and stuff like that. Because whenever I get a Mythic Legion, I'm just like, how do I fit this into a Berserk display?
Well, it's kind of
Whereas,
weird.
like, yeah,
Oh no, no. I was just, what's weird is like I when I buy the Mythic Legions, I'm not all in. I have no interest to really buy the monsters, but I love it.
oh,
I
okay.
love the knights. I love the way the knights look. I love the
They
horses. Like,
they are clean, dude.
yeah,
Like that's when you think of a knight figure as a kid, they've like perfectly replicated that or produced that. Like it's nuts how clean these knight figures are, and especially with the Necronominus wave stuff, dude. Like this is incredible.
yeah, they're
It's another level, and I'm excited for their 3.0 figures. I did order the Midwadway or something like that, the hyena, and the like the Spartan like Roman soldier that they did. I'm not again. I don't collect the mythic stuff, but those two with with 3.0 articulation on them, I just wanted to check out. So
yeah.
I'm excited for those. But yeah, no, I love cosmic, man. I love space. I love sci-fi. I love weird creatures, and that comes from just Star Wars, right?
So do you have all? Do you have all the Cosmic Legions then? Since you said
Yeah, I'm all caught up on
so, you got
cosmic.
a perfect time, right? Like I could
Oh
imagine trying to
yeah.
go in and be like, you know what, I want to get all the Mythic Legions right now. You'd be like, good luck.
Oh, good luck. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. No, I agree with you. I got lucky, man.
and
3-star. What you got?
Darren's asking if you like figure obscuras.
Yes, I do, and it's not because of the property, but because Horsemen are producing them. My first figure obscura was Monkey King. That's the first one I picked up. Monkey King, right? It's just as a Dragon Ball fan, Goku is the Japanese version of the Chinese legend, right? And so I had an attachment there, and it looked like a cool figure. Got it in hand, and it was an incredibly um, detailed and articulated enough. And I was blown away by honestly, but by the details, right? The sculpting on that was incredible. And then from Monkey King, I got the Mask of the Red Death, even though I didn't have an attachment to Edgar Allan Poe. I loved that figure. I got the Gods of Egypt. I got the Jacob Marley. Even though I'm not a big Charles Dickens fan, but like I want a cool ghost figure from the Four Horsemen. And so my love for Cosmic kind of bleeded into the figure obscura stuff, not because I like the property, but because I like the company.
Did you get the Headless Horseman?
So I haven't gone back. The only one I've gone back and gotten is the Father Christmas, and that was more because my son loves Christmas, and so we
I wonder
go
why that
all out.
is. Why would a 4-year-old love Christmas?
we go all out on Christmas. So it's just kind of like I convinced my wife, like, well, it's part of the decoration. But I still need to pick up the Headless Horseman and the Krampus. Those are the only two figure obscures I don't have outside of the stuff that they released.
Have you got any of the Naughty or Nice from?
So yes, my son, his 4th birthday, we asked him, "What do you want your birthday theme to be?" And he was like, "I want it to be Christmas."
When's his birthday?
In April.
I love it.
So we got a little mini tree, invited everybody. We played Christmas music, made hot cocoa cookies or cupcakes, I can't remember, for everybody to enjoy. And we told everyone to put the presents by the Christmas tree, and they opened them up and stuff. And I got him a Naughty or Nice Santa for his birthday. So he has his own little Naughty or Nice Santa.
I got one not too long ago, and I'm like, because it came after Christmas, and I'm like, okay, you guys need to do a little bit better with your distribution. All right, stop. Yeah, come on, like no one wants these in January or February. All right, They want them before Christmas because some of us would actually put them, like you said, on a display. But I got it, and I'm just like, this is such a cool figure.
It's fun.
It's Santa Claus. I had him on 1 foot for the longest time. He's just standing there on 1 foot, like he's just. But and the hat fits on the bald Mythic Legions like the Santa hat.
Does it?
Fits on.
Oh, dude! Nice.
Where is it at? I can't think of where I have them.
I'll have to swap that.
I just moved the stuff around, but the because I had it on one, but the Joe exclusive, well, the not roadblock that they did.
Oh yeah, ATL, yeah.
So they have another Mythic Legion that uses the same head sculpt, and I had it on him because he's bald. He fits perfect. So
that's so cool.
So I'm trying to think of where I put him.
That's so cool, man. Yeah, and like it was cool to find out that Naughty or Nice was done by Arlen. And coming back to like the YouTube stuff that we did, me and my brother were already talking toys. We decided to start recording that we were talking toys, made our channel, and we were trying to find a niche, right? Because we were just talking about news, which, there's bigger channels. Robo covers all the news.
Yeah.
Just displaying model behavior, right? They cover it all. But we wanted to just be like a conversation between two dudes that like toys. And we slowly kind of niched down into Kickstarters. And that's kind of been fun too, to kind of talk about a Kickstarter, see if it will be successful. You kind of have the drama of will it fund, won't it fund? And through that, we were actually able to meet some people that were making toys, right? We interviewed the Brutal Realm team with David Vonner. That was incredible. We got to interview Jason from Spiro Toys, and getting to meet Adam and Jason, talking to them for a night was so much fun. And then through that, we got to interview Adam from Highly Articulated, and Ira and Arlen, who are just making toys for us. Like they sculpt toys that we play with, and that's something incredible, right? And when we interviewed them for their zombies, space zombies from Mars line and stuff, and so it's been fun getting to do this channel to talk about toys, but then also like getting to meet people that have made toys, make toys, and getting to talk to them has been probably the best part about our YouTube channel is meeting these creators.
I mean, I can say for me, the best part of this whole YouTube journey has been meeting and making friends.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why we talk so highly about Joe Fest. It wasn't because it was the G.I. Joe convention. It was because for 4 to 5 days, we were all stuck in the same hotel together with a common interest. And these people that, I sat there before my ex and I broke up, and then even after, going, Andrew, these are not real friends. You don't know these people. And the next thing I know, my best friends are these people who do this, but then you finally get a chance to meet them, and then you can stop when people go, "Oh, you're YouTube friends? You're on?" No, I know them in real life now.
Yeah, I know them in IRL.
But it's crazy. Like I never thought that. I started, I started making videos because I was like, hey, I have the original G.I. Joes. Here's these Walmart ones. Let me just compare them. I had no idea what I was doing.
Okay.
I still don't have any idea what I'm doing, to be honest. But
Yeah, I mean, I credit a lot of this collaborations and like hanging out and making friends to Brick. If it wasn't for Brick, dude, I think me and Josh would just still be
Well,
talking about toys individually. And
the guy's already got perfect hair. We don't need to
listen,
You don't need to make his ego any bigger.
he reached out to us, invited us onto his show, and then he connected us with Oz, with the Toy Network, with you. I really believe I would not be here if it wasn't for Brick being like just the homie that he is and being like, hey, come on my show. Because like me and my brother, like we have that imposter syndrome. Like we're just like, well, we're a small channel. People don't watch us. People don't want to hear from us, and you have that for whatever reason, that mentality, at least for us doing YouTube. And so when Brick reached out, we were like, okay, cool. Like this is fun. And then getting to meet more people and you just get more comfortable within this community. And I, again, thankful for Brick, and I'm happy to be here talking to you, man.
No, this community is and I think there's probably other communities that are the same way, but this medium that we're in, and again, very few of us have people in our area that we're friends with in real life that you can talk to toys, right? Like, it's, oh yeah, you're in Utah. Well, okay. Like you said, you talk to your wife, and you're like, oh my God, dude, look at this. I got this Venom head, and I put on, and he's Fred, and
right.
Right. Yeah, okay, that's real nice, honey. That's awesome. That's awesome. By the way, did you pay the water bill?
Right.
I saw the lights flicker. Did you pay the electric? I just want to make sure. But
yeah.
We have this way of to meeting people, and Brick is one of those people. I'll say sometimes you meet people that they're just too nice, and you're like, no one is that fucking nice. All right, and eventually you're like, you're so full of shit. Brick is one of those people, and I've talked to him numerous times, whether it be on my show, on Oz's. We've obviously chatted numerous times.
Yeah.
He is a very genuine person.
Yeah.
He's one of those people that really cares. He really cares. And then he's also one of those people that's like, hey, you know what? If you're not into what I'm doing, I don't really care, which is my feeling. There's a lot of people that can't accept when someone doesn't like something.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I don't give a shit. You don't like it.
Yeah. Like Brick has the confidence to be sure of himself, but also like reaches out to people. And I think he's a punk. Brick's a punk, man, and he understands what it takes to lift everybody up,
And he has perfect hair.
Attitude. He does have good hair. He's a good looking guy.
He has perfect hair. It's not good hair. He has perfect hair.
He's a good looking guy.
Dude, okay. So I do a 36-hour stream last year, right? I'm going to be doing every single year. All funds go to Toys for Tots for Michigan, right?
I remember.
And I cut out at around, I think 5 in the morning, something like that.
Okay.
So Ed takes over so I can get a little bit of sleep because I'm not young anymore. I'm not staying up for 36 plus hours.
Right.
Actually, I was actually already up because I took my daughter to school, and I'm like, I'm going to come home and crash. But then you're so wired, like you just want it to start. So I never went back to sleep. Anyway, so I crash for a little bit. I get back on. They're doing their morning clubhouse. There is Brick. It is like 9 in the morning here. So it's like 6 in the morning there. And I'm like, what the fuck? How do you have perfect hair? He's like, well, he goes, I take my mother-in-law to the airport. I'm like, so that's you're not answering the question. Then you wake up, you brush your teeth, and you go, hey, let's go to the airport. Why is your hair perfect?
Yeah, I can't answer that.
Exactly. He couldn't be there.
But we're happy he's part of our team.
Yes. So tell everyone about your channel and a link to his YouTube channel and to your Instagram are both in the
Oh,
description.
thank you.
So kind of tell everyone about your channel, what you're doing, and
Yeah.
like what you're looking to get out of this journey.
Okay, yeah. So catch us every Saturday at 9:30 Mountain Standard Time. We
Okay,
upload our videos.
we only know Eastern.
All right. Let's see, -2, right? So
I have
7.
no idea.
No, +2, I think. So catch us 11:30 Eastern Time on YouTube. We drop our new videos there.
AM or PM?
AM, 11:30 AM in the morning, covering just the weekly, just toys that me and my brother like to talk about. That's kind of our whole shtick. It's just the figures that me and Josh like to talk about. There's certain lines that we don't like, and we don't talk about that. But that's what we like it to do. And what I'm trying to get out of YouTube, I don't know if I am. I think I've already gotten what I wanted to get out of YouTube, which is getting to hang out with my brother every week. I honestly, that was the best part.
Now, does he live by you?
Yeah, I mean, he
Okay.
lives like 30 minutes away. Like, we hang out in person. But like getting to
No,
talk
I
to
fully
him
get
about-
it, because it's nice to have. It's nice to talk to somebody, and especially your brother, obviously, about this stuff. But it's also nice to have an audience and find out there's other people that like the same thing. Clearly,
Yeah.
my son, I don't know if you heard that. There's other people that like what he's doing on that video game, yelling. I
Yeah.
don't like it.
Yeah, no. And so I think just getting to hang out with my brother every week and talk about toys is something I love to do. And like, that's why we do our YouTube channel. If people want to tune in and listen, great. If they want to comment, cool. We also do like reviews and just our own little takes about the figures. And then on Instagram, it's a little different. It's mainly turned into just my toy photography. It's just my toy photography stuff that I've done and will continue to do. I've done a little bit of stop motion animation as well, and just kind of dabble into things. Nothing proficiently though.
You're not doing AI, are you?
No.
Yes.
Like, what do you mean AI?
Stupid AI.
No, yeah, like
The people that take
No.
a picture and they turn it into an AI,
Oh.
and you're like, "What the fuck is
maybe
that?" I'm sorry, you haven't swore, so I hope you don't mind. I hope it doesn't
Oh,
bother
I don't swear, just that because like my YouTube brain turns on, so I don't swear.
you. No, that's perfectly fine.
If you met me in person, yeah, we talking like
I'm not a big fan of the AI thing. Like,
I mean, where it's like animating things, yes. I don't know. It's weird. It is what it is. I get it. Animation takes long, but it's very rewarding. But like,
animation is different than AI.
yeah, that's true.
Stop
Yeah,
motion
no,
is awesome.
I'm doing stop motion animation, frame by frame stuff, and then toy photography with it's all like practical lighting and backgrounds and stuff like that. And I don't know. My feelings on AI, if you want to hear, is just it can be used as a tool, but it can also be abused.
Well, I think that's where we were at, because in our mods channel, we were sending some because like there were some where like you have like Storm Shadow, like he's taking off his sword, but the sword's going through his arm.
Yeah,
and you're like, what? Like, if you were posting that and you're like, oh my god, look how bad this one was that I made, like, I would laugh, okay?
Yeah.
But when you're posting it like it's awesome, and we're all like, why? Like, you're proud of this.
Yeah. Yeah. I think of it like a hammer, right? Like a hammer can be used to build a house and be productive, but other people will use it for nefarious means and hurt people with it. Same tool, different outcomes, right? And so, like in my editing process, because I'm the one that edits and produces all this stuff, I do use AI, but like I use it to transcribe video footage, and then like delete the sound, delete like weird sounds that we hear and stuff like that. So
yeah, I'm more about the whole people making the videos, but like constantly, and it's like they're trying to step over rocks, but they're stepping through the rock, and you're like, or like
it looks bad.
It looks like I don't know, they have a weapon, but then all of a sudden it looks like a bag of Cheetos, and you're like, what the fuck is that?
Yeah, that fever dream.
Am I the only one that saw the Cheeto? And then I'm talking to the moderators, and Matthew's like, no, that was popcorn. I'm like, oh, okay, well, Cheetos, popcorn, like it wasn't what it was supposed to be.
Yeah. I mean, I have a couple artist friends that do art full time, and
they hate it.
It's an affront to them. But I always say support living artists. So check out people that are making art, doing animation, and share their work if that's for free. If you can't buy it.
And that's kind of what I was like when I was saying earlier about the one guy that I don't know how his channel came up, but it's all these gangsters and stuff from the
Right,
early the early 1900s. And even though he says he sometimes is pronouncing words wrong, he's doing the voice.
Right.
So to me, it's like when I watch Toy Connections, right? He's doing the voice.
Yeah.
I mean, how many of these videos do we watch on YouTube? And it's like, man, this guy has a lot of work because I've heard him on like 10 videos today because it's the same AI voice. And it's like,
yeah.
I hate that.
All right. You can tell.
But that's just me. I mean,
yeah.
You may not know this. I can be kind of opinionated at times.
Oh, really?
So do you guys do any live streams?
We do. We do an occasional live stream. Like we were doing episode reviews of Andor on Thursdays. We were going live just to kind of get them out there. I used to do a little bit of live stream like gaming and stuff, but it just wasn't our fit for our channel. Eventually, I think maybe we will do some like consistent live streams, but at the moment that's not in the plan. Eventually, maybe though.
I will tell you, consistency is absolute king.
Yeah.
When it comes to live streams, and I know Matthew and I have talked about it. There's a reason why, like all the guys doing live streams, or channels, or groups, or whoever, they've picked a specific date.
Right.
Very few people can go live and have 100+ people watching. Right. Toy Habits is one of them. Toy Habits could go live right now, and next thing you know, they have 200 people watching, and you're like, how did this happen? Because no one knew you were going live. But you have other people that they go live and people are like, oh, hey, it's not your day to go live. I'm not watching you.
Yeah, and if it fits in our schedule and if it works for both of us, then maybe we do it. It's just sometimes hard to be beholden to a specific time and not have that flexibility because, again, you want to be consistent. Like if you aren't, it's harder to build an audience, build that engagement. And so I think that's another reason we haven't is we just aren't able to commit and like have to commit to a time and date. The way we have it set up where we pre-record gives us some room and flexibility to kind of still live our lives. But maybe eventually we will shift into a time that works for both of us. We'll see though.
Yeah, and again, plus you have a little kid, so Matthew, no, we didn't just end the stream.
We're still here.
But I know John does have to wrap it up because he actually has to go record with his brother.
I think, yeah. Sure.
No, I was just wondering, like again, live streams are one of those things, and I tell everyone I go. I know a lot of people don't want to step on other people's toes. I'm like, everyone's doing live streams now. I go, and this is not the 80s where you either picked Family Ties or you picked Growing Pains to watch, or you had a VCR and you hoped it recorded one, right? You can go back and watch it anytime. So if Monday night at 9 p.m., which I don't recommend, but that's the only time the only time you and your brother can go live. I tell everyone I go, I don't take offense to it. I actually think Jerkin Gaines, I think for a time they actually thought that I was unhappy because both their live shows are on Mondays and Thursdays. I'm like, really, you guys can pick at least another fucking day? But I've always said like, and I'm friends with the guys. I'm like, my job is never and will never be to get somebody to not watch somebody else's show. My job is to get someone to watch mine. But I tell everyone, I go, if you're like, hey, man, Monday is my only day that I'm free. At 10 p.m. I can do it. That's when you go live. Yeah. And people will learn to find you, or they'll come back and watch you on the replay. And never feel bad about stepping on someone's toes because you're not. Unless if you are, unless you're one of those people that like, I don't like this person. I know I'm real popular. I can see if I can make them switch. There's always someone that's going to do that.
Right. Okay. Yeah. No, I think you're right. And again, it's that consistency, whatever your day is, and people. And coming back to your second point about, one is consistency, but the other one is authenticity, right?
Yeah.
There's a YouTuber called Jim Mint that he covers statues and omnibus comics. I don't collect either one of those, but I show up to his shows, I show up to his live streams because I like him and he's very authentic, and I feel like I like his personality and something I vibe with. And so I will tune in for that show, whenever it is.
That is how I feel about sports radio. I mean it. Like, I've come to like the people that I listen to, the characters, the way their banter back and forth.
Yeah.
I have people that watch my Monday night show that they're mainly, let's say, 118th guys. Even though I do collect 118th, I have guys that are like, I don't care about classified, but I tune in because I enjoy. I don't know what you enjoy. Thank you. But they enjoy it, so they tune in.
Exactly.
And you find yourself, listening to people that you that you enjoy. You may not even care for sports or whatever, but you're like, I think Dan Patrick and the way they banter back and forth is actually pretty funny. And that's exactly what it sounds like you're saying here.
Yeah, exactly.
And live streams, we've talked about it. Like, pre-recorded videos, that grows your channel, but the live stream, that's what builds your community. It's strange.
I agree. No, we know that, that's the thing. So it's not a no. We won't do live streams. It's just like eventually, but just right now it's not the cards.
And you got a little kid there, and does your brother have any kids?
He doesn't. No, he doesn't.
Okay, so he has no excuse.
Listen, I do all the work, right? I set up the slides, I edit the videos, I upload the videos, get the titles, do the thumbnails. He shows up and he gives his take. But listen, his takes, that's why people tune in, I'll be honest.
He sounds like a slacker to me. With that said, when I agreed to do the Tuesday show, I said two things. I go, I will not go up against my moderators. All right. Ed goes on at 9. We have to be done at 9. And I'm not doing any slides because I've just done all my slides for Monday. Now, if you need to use those slides, they're already uploaded. I don't care. But I'm not going to be doing slides for anything else because I already have enough going on. That's why I enjoy this show. I get to talk to somebody. I don't need slides. I don't need anything. I have anything written down. I know the question I'm going to ask. I know the format of it. But yeah.
I get you. All right. Well, Larry, Lawrence, Punk, man, this has been a fun time. Thank you.
Tell everyone where they can where they can find you, even though it is in the description. But
yeah, check us out here on YouTube at 11:30 Eastern Time a.m. on YouTube here, the Collecting Brothers. Check us out on Instagram if you want some cool toy photography. Check out the Collecting Brothers on Instagram. That's kind of our main two platforms that we keep updated, I'll be honest. And yeah, we're here talking toys. If you want to come hang out. We'd love to have you.
All right. Sounds good. Anyway, check out all this stuff. Go over there, hit subscribe, hit like, do all that good stuff. Also, hit like here just because you're already here, right? Anyway, John, thank you so much for joining me. I also want to say thank you for letting me be done before 1 a.m. It's actually, contrary to popular belief, I don't feel I need to be on 4 hours going like where I'm like waking up or I'm getting up by the time I'm waking up to go to work. So I appreciate that. So anyway,
no problem.
Thank you so much. And also thank you for explaining your name. I'm not even joking. I'm like, dude, that's not John. I've seen John. I know how John's spelled.
Yeah.
There's nothing. That looks like the Legend of Billie Jean. All right. Like anyway, you have a wonderful night and thank you so much. Okay, guys, go check them out. I will see you guys Monday and then Tuesday and then Thursday. Take care.